Yes, I'm ready. Hello. Hi, how are you? I am doing great. If I'm being honest, I'm trying to drink this gin that I got. Not a fan. It's too potent. But the tonic water helps a million. What am I doing today? Oh, um, I semi sort of had a plan. Oh, I'll put these in here for what I wanted to do, but I don't know. I gotta go to the restroom. Life is interesting. I might end up doing a self read. I think I will. Because that's fun. I pulled some cards last night. I'm going to be real honest with you. I pulled some cards last night and the title card came out. The Live Life and Find Out card came out for me last night. Today, I have a conversation. And I'm just like, what do I do with this information? You know what I mean? It's like, what? I don't know. So I'm gonna keep living life and I'm gonna keep finding out, I guess, in regards to that. But I think I wanted to do something else too. I don't remember. I'll ask Siri. Bixby. We'll go to my new friends and we'll find out. I'll see. Or maybe I'll just sit here for a second. I'll sit here for a second and I'll think about it. Excuse me. I wanted to use the Enchanted Map Oracle cards. I haven't used the Energy Oracle cards in a minute. So I'll use those. Oh, I haven't used those in a while either, but I'm not using those today. Every time I feel like I know what I'm going to do, I hit the live button and I forget. Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Excuse me. I got reversals in here. No, there's literally one card in reverse. Two cards in reverse. We're gonna put them upright, and we're gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Just stick around, hang around, find out, or don't. I know it's like really warm with all this radiation I'm receiving from 10 hours of pure white screen. Wow, why was anxiety and the thinking man at the cut? Call me out. This is a personal read. If this don't resonate with you, don't take it. I'm gonna be projecting all up over this. And I'm supposed to be having a call tomorrow, and honestly, I'm like, I don't know if I'm in a space to not project right now. It's just like, wait. I'm just like, what does this mean? Hey, Jessica, how are you doing? Ooh, strategy and the seventh chakra, Archangel Uriel. Oof. That's big oof energy. Action with that crown chakra. Strategy and action. I feel like strategy and action for me are almost like opposites, antonyms. Because it's like, well, how do you strategize and act? I'm prone to overthinking sometimes. A lot more in the past. Contract with happy family. Love that energy. We'll see. I'm gonna go turn this other light off because it's really warm. And I'm wearing a black shirt if you can't tell. So it's just going to absorb all of this. I feel like before today I was great. Before today I was amazing. Before, we'll say 1 p.m. Central, I was fine. And then one comment, and what's like hilarious is like I was living life, which set the stage for a comment to be made that I just don't know how to process. I'm just like I don't know what to do with this. I really don't. Hola, Sandra. How are you? Hmm. A Tom Collins. I'll have to hold up. Wait, I'm gonna have to. I have a bartending friend. We were talking about snickerdoodles earlier. There was this one bartender at a bar on campus that just knew how to make my drinks. And then my favorite bar closed, and I don't know where she went. And life has been gray ever since. I'm just playing. Um, excuse me. I almost feel like I want to make it dark. Venus and Saturn are starting to fight right now. Venus is at least over here. Venus has been interesting. I have I feel like something is in Aries or was in Aries. Saturn is in Aquarius. Where's Venus? Oh, in Taurus. Venus moved into Taurus. Are they gonna square? I have a moon and rising in Taurus, so and I'm having a Saturn return. Well, the Saturn return part one is over. Saturn's retrograding, and I'm gonna get a part two, and then when it goes direct, I'm gonna get a part three. So that'll be fun. I won't say I'm anticipating it. I don't think anticipation is necessarily the word I want because it's gonna happen. Uh, I won't say I am, but I am. I'm intrigued. Color me interested. Excuse me. I've been enjoying my Saturn return so far, though. This year has just been, it's been a lot of, there's been some challenge. Flying, this has been a year of defying gravity. Where I was stuck in the mud, I'm now flying. Ain't no mud in the sky. Um, but it's been a lot of like challenges that I can overcome, a lot of experiences to show me that old limitations are no longer valid. And so, because old limitations no longer apply, there are boundaries and barriers that I don't have to maintain. And because of that, there's a quality of life. These cards will not shuffle. There's a quality of life that I can have that I've already found myself having. Um, why will you not shuffle? And that too, um, They just don't. It's not going to shuffle that way. I'm going to keep trying though. And that. Excuse me. I don't know. I'm a lot more capable than I thought I was. I'm capable of a lot more than I thought I would be. Um, and it's interesting because I guess when I find myself without the excuse, because I know myself to be very capable, but then it's like, what do I want? It's okay for a dream to change. It's okay for dreams to change, was one thing. And with the world literally wide open, I'm like, okay, well, how do you know what you want if like you don't have that? You know what I mean? But anyway, I had a good Saturn return. It was really nice. It was beautiful. Excuse me. My Saturn return was all about boundaries, restrictions, limits that I put on myself, and that they're no longer valid. Oh, snap! Oof! I get a 45, man holding a heart. I was like, oh, snap, because that's a 9. And after 9 comes the 10, but the 10 is storm warning in this deck. And then cornucopia 11 behind that. But there's another 9 behind this 11. It's a 27. And that is walking away. So I think I want to choose this openness vulnerability to get the cornucopia on the other side of that storm warning rather than walking away. I say that. But in reality, you know. It's been an interesting time, though. It's been an interesting time. So I think today I'm just going to pull cards. I think I'm going to do a self read. We'll see. I'm planning on it, though. I haven't used these in a minute. I don't know what else I would do. I mean, I could do. I thought about doing one of those series, but I was like, I'm so just like wait right now that I don't even know if I'd be able to be like a clear channel and not just like project on every single card that comes out. You know what I mean? I mean, I could be. I'm sure I could be, but do I want to be right now? Is the question. And so if I sit with myself, oh, oof. I think another card flipped over. It did. I got a 46, which is 10, and a 38, which is an 11. Oh, you remember how I literally just said that like there was the 9 that was the man holding a heart, but there was the 9 that was the 27 that was walking away. The bottom of the deck is 30, making a choice. It's time to make a choice. Oof. The cards that came out, it's Heal the Ouch and Coming Apart. But in Heal the Ouch and Coming Apart, it feels like something has to come apart to expose something that needs to be healed. So let's call it an invasive surgery. I don't think it can be non-invasive with the coming apart energy. Um, I guess this month would be really interesting though, because the card that I pulled for me for July is these next 2 months, according to the cards I pulled at the beginning of the year, are going to be very interesting. Very interesting. You've been reading for your clients, but haven't felt the right energies to do YouTube collective reads. Is what about a comment on one of my videos? No. For me, no. I just know when I'm like, I feel like I'm too wrapped up in my own head, or I have like, I'm attempting to process something by not thinking about it. I'm doing background processing right now. And whenever I'm doing background processing, I'm just like, I don't think it would be a good time to like try to reach out to somebody else. So it's not about a comment I got, but I just feel like I would be prone to projecting. Excuse me. It's just like if I have a lot on my mind, I'm a very like cerebral person. And if I have a lot on my mind, sometimes like I won't like talk to people, or like I won't try to hang out with people because I know that like if I'm hanging out, if I'm just in my head the whole time and I'm not like with the person, like what's the point? You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's why I'm like, I was gonna do something else, but after that, I'm just like, and I guess it's interesting because it was this morning. This morning, I was walking into work and randomly, for no apparent reason to me, my attention was drawn in a certain area. And as soon as I look in that area, a bird lands in that spot. And I'm like, hey, the birds are already doing stuff. I don't even know about the collective, Jess. I'm like, you know, is what I mean. Yeah. I don't know if I'm collective. What's the collective? I'm just playing. What was the thing? Somebody was, I think I was watching one of Russ's videos, or was it Rob's? Who was it? It might have been one of Rob's, and Russ made a comment. I think it was about how horses, like, I think it's like the in a horse's brain, the left and right hemispheres aren't fused. And so it's like if you walk behind a horse from the left and you go out from the right, it's like in their brain you just like magically appeared, or you disappear and reappear, or something like that. But with that, with the light being right there, this sparkle right here, it feels like there's like some bridge, some connection that's being formed between like the left and right hemisphere or something like that. It's also interesting because in the last video, um, it was a lot of and energy. It was like feminine and masculine, old and young, light and dark. And on the way home today, there was a construction company. There was a truck for a construction company, and it said fire and water. I'm like, unless y'all doing fireplaces, it's probably a fireplace. Maybe they do fireplaces and plumbing. But like the first thing listed was fire and water. I was like, oh, that's interesting. It makes you think of Gemini. Bird, I don't even know about the. I'm just the birds have been confusing me for some time now. I'm like the birds are walking across the street instead of flying, and then it's like when I came on and I was like, why are all the birds walking? What's going on? Then the next day, birds are just flying in front of me for no reason. And then I'm like, why are the birds flying? Like, what's like, why are they flying in front of me? And then the day after that, they're just like gliding. And I'm like, okay, whatever. It's cool. It's fine. I don't get it. But, ooh, that's not terrible, but it needs like 99% tonic and 1% gin because I don't know if it's strong or if it's the florals and the jasmine and the rose. I don't know. It's too much. It's interesting though. Appreciation. It's interesting though because of this making a choice card at the bottom of the deck. It feels like there's an opportunity to like merge these two into one. Or it reminds me again of that show that I was talking about. And 36, another nine commitment. In between them, see? Um, but it's like if there are two options and neither option is preferred, it was like if the king says it wants a third path, then everything in this realm will work together to create that third path. That's the power of the king. That's the power that the king holds in this realm. It literally shapes in reality and makes the world the way it wants. And they're like, who's gonna be the next king? Who's gonna be the next king? And like the king isn't even from there, but that's fine. It's too harsh. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is for mine too, but and like moderation, it's enjoyable. With tonic, it's like more enjoyable. This one, very much, not so much. I guess it's also interesting because in the SKT Revelations, the angel came out under the devil, and it was Yana and Janus. It had two faces. The one facing towards the shadow held the Ten of Cups. The I forget what it's called. Oof. I feel like I should do personal readings private. I'll just say that for the month of July, there's a card that holds a special significance for me in a deck that I have. And it comes to mean something very particular. It comes to mean something for me that is very much so what a previous video that I've done was talking about. And so it's interesting that these two animals are here on Heal the Ouch. Also, my friend, my journey buddy, um, oh, snap, I didn't even catch that at the time. My journey buddy has been talking about, she's getting into, um, oh, what's that thing? It has like astrology and the I Ching and a bunch of stuff, human design. And she asked me if I knew what my human design was, and I'm a manifester. My thing is to initiate and inform, and my not self thing is like anger. And it clicked for me like yesterday or earlier today. I just like, I'm just like, what does this mean? I'm just like, what? Like, I don't understand. I'm just like, I don't get a. It is Bloom. This is not a sponsored video. I got this because of my journey buddy. I was like, oh my gosh, this makes me think of my journey buddy. I'm gonna get it. I could have just took a picture and sent it to her and been like, look up what I saw in the store. But this is it. It's got jasmine and rose. Drink responsibly if you choose to partake, of course. Um, this is really interesting, actually. Again, I don't know. I knew this would happen. It is pretty. It's very like aesthetically pleasing. Is that? Oh, snap! It is. Hola, Janelle. Oh, fire, water damage. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I was like, do they build fireplaces or something? And do they do plumbing? Because I don't get it. How are you? Did I ask? What is this? Okay. Yeah, I could have totally done this off camera, but it's fine. I feel like I'm only really motivated to like do readings whenever I'm on camera. Besides that, I'm just like, if I pull cards, I like pull cards, look at them for 2 seconds, and then put them away and be like, okay. Let's get one more of these to go on the table, please. Oof. That oof is from the alcohol. Fourth chakra, Archangel Raphael, which is interesting because my. What does it mean? What does it all mean? It's fine. I'll just wade water until it makes sense. I'll tread water until it makes sense. I might swim a little bit. I'll be floating here until the earth rises beneath my feet and gives me some kind of context. So, Archangel Raphael, which is another, oh my gosh, look at that. Heal the Ouch, Archangel Raphael, 38. They're both number 38. The Angel of Healing. Cute, whatever. But I got some more cards today. my collector's booster came in, and I opened one pack at work, and Raphael was in the deck. I was like, "Oh, interesting." But that Raphael was a devil. This Raphael is an angel. I was like, "That's interesting." And I think it like creates. I literally have the cards right here. I was like, I know I literally just had these. Where did I put them? Raphael Fiendish Savior was the card that was in the pack. This is the card. It's got fire and turf, red and black. What does it say? Other demons, devils, imps, and tieflings you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature card was put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, create a 1/1 red devil creature token with when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. All I saw was Raphael, and I was like, I don't know why it's a devil noble here, but come through light and dark energy, I guess. And then here's Raphael again. And this is the only pack I opened at work. Um, the rest of them are here, but I still have quite a few of the other ones that I haven't opened yet. It's going to be a process. It took me quite a while to get all of them open last time. And that's because I read them and I file them as I open them anyway. The cards that came out from the Chancellor came out. And the tension was at the bottom of the deck. 2 of orbs. Who flipped over? The Magician in the Mirror, number 53, which is the first 8 I've seen. There was a 9, 10, 11, and another 9. Eve, how are you doing? Hi, hello. Good evening. Good evening. Sorry. Raphael was at the bottom of the deck. The Magician in the Mirror flipped over. Remember how I was talking about fire and water? Look at our Magician in the Mirror. Huh. Even the Chancellor is kind of sort of doing the same. Everyone's holding 2 things. Because that's cute, right? Eve, I don't know how I am. I don't know. Ooh, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I'm just like, I've just had the most like way kind of sort of day. Maybe not. Maybe so. Maybe I'm just like overthinking everything, which is entirely possible, but it's still very like, oh, wait. And I am going to open up my little they don't have Time Nomad on the Android store, so I can't get Time Nomad. I was like, excuse me. I need Time Nomad. I don't need it, but it'd be nice. I'm like, let me look at these transits. Let me see what's going on in the sky. Mars is conjuncting my natal Venus. That's my Saturn return, which is applying. It was separating when Saturn was direct. Neptune is on my Mercury. The South Node is on my Pluto. Black Moon Lilith is on my Mars. Oof. Mercury is on my Moon. Mars is opposing my Jupiter. Sun square natal Mercury. Saturn square natal Pluto. The nodes are squaring my Saturn. Sun trine natal Saturn. Venus trine Uranus and Neptune. Neptune trine Pluto. Pluto trine Moon. North node trine Uranus and Neptune. South node trine Mercury. South node sextile Uranus. And then the other ones are minors. It's fine. It's fine. According to these cards, there's this energy. It's almost like there's something within me to a level that I may not even necessarily be fully aware of, that it's time to heal. Because I guess when I said I was feeling like it's time, the cards are saying, well, it's time. And I'm like, oh. See, but when I say it's time, it's time on my time. You know what I mean? I watched Reem's crow video. And when she talked about the fourth crow, the crow of the shadow crow, the crow card came out. I almost left a comment or like sent her a voice note. But she mentioned a key. And in the Wild Unknown Tarot, the Hierophant is a crow with a key. And I was like, oh, snap. See, I need to not do these because some of this stuff is personal, It's personal to me and my journey. You didn't get to the fourth crow yet? I did, obviously. I'm talking about it. I made it. I think I watched the first two, and then I went back last night and I finished the last two. This is not the deck I wanted, but I will pull a card from it. I really want to reach out to my artist friend and ask her how much she would charge me to make a deck for me. But I still don't know. The 7 of clubs fell out with the 6 of clubs at the bottom of the deck and the 2 of clubs under that. So lots of fire. A purifying light, a renewed mind, a moment of timelessness. With the bottom of the deck, a shift in the wind, a leaf caught in an eddy, the birth of a new language. The birth of a new language is interesting because it feels like it gives us the opportunity to begin to communicate things that were previously incommunicable, if that's a word. It's like we didn't have the vocabulary to communicate it before, but now we will. Don't ask me. You had to go to work at the office today? Oof. Now, the deck that I wanted to grab is this one, which is the Pocket Wild Unknown. Oh my gosh, look who's at the bottom of the deck. It's Justice. Justice is at the bottom of the deck. That's the Chancellor. The Chancellor is Justice in the SKT. Uh, oh, that's just as death. The Daughter of Wands and the Daughter of Pentacles flipped over immediately, with the Two of Pentacles being at the bottom of the deck. And this and the Seven of Swords. So the Daughter of Wands and the Daughter of Pentacles immediately just like flipped right over. They were ready. The bottom of the deck is the Two of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords. So we got the Two of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords at the bottom of the deck. And then it's the Son of Wands with the Son of Cups. And the Five of Wands is behind that, with the Mother of Swords behind that, and the High Priestess behind the Mother of Swords, with the Eight of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups and the Daughter of Swords behind that High Priestess. It's funny because spiders have been a thing lately, and I'm still not comfortable with spiders, but apparently they've been a thing lately. Like, I'll get into the car after work and I'll just have like a spider on me. And I'm like, okay. In reality, I'm like, oh. But I'm like, why are all these little spiders just like? But that was before I went on my trip. Before I went on my trip, there were little spiders. Since I've been back, there have been no more spiders, thankfully. I gotta go to the restroom. You know what's funny? One of my coworkers today showed us a picture of a baby deer. She was like, "Oh, we should get a baby deer. They're so cute." And then the Daughter of Wands comes out, or the Daughter of Pentacles. The Daughter of Wands did come out. I'm actually gonna go to the restroom really quick. I'll be right back. Enjoy Saturn. Did who take a break? I took a potty break. Oh, je ne veux. Um, I'm gonna, So basically, what all of this is saying to me is, um, oh snap, it's a Matthew. Yeah, it could. Hey man, how you doing? I don't really like spiders, by the way. I'm more comfortable with them now, I guess. But to randomly find them like crawling on me, I'm like, no, thank you. Please, please, no. Yee yee. Oh, you've grown far more fond of him since then. Love that for you. Love that for you. Wish I could relate. Uh, oh, 1 second. Uno momento. So basically, what this is looking like, it's looking like it's time. And I don't know why. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Threads of Fate Tarot. I have two versions. For the light one, I'm going to pull 3 cards as like collective, general, outside, boom, boom, boom. And then for the dark one, it's going to be a personal boom, boom, boom. And I'm going to hope that the boom, boom, boom gives me some kind of clarity. That I guess I want. A couple of whispers. I'm gonna pull one of these too, because shout out to Lord Ganesha. I'm just gonna pull all the decks. It's fine. And then today, it's so weird because lately I've been like, I want to do like personals, or I want to start like working with people in a reading space just to see if there's anything that I can offer anyone. But when I think about it, I'm like, why? Kinda. Not really. But I was thinking about it again today. And then Mr. Odinson pulled a 3 of Pentacles for me. I'm like, oof. I'm feeling it, but still rejecting it. Kinda. Okay. All of the cards are on the table. Just outside of Austin. Oh, snap. I had a cousin who was staying in Austin or by Austin. I think they were in Pflugerville. They were in Pflugerville, but then they moved. So they're not in Pflugerville anymore. I might, Eve. I don't know. If I can work through this resistance, then maybe. Let me try to get at least a little bit more center frame. There we go. That's better. Okay, that's more than one. It's 2. I'm going to take it as 3. So the first card is number 41, Belonging. The second card is number 36, Healing. And I think I have a 36. 36 was Commitment. Sorry. Which is Healing. Ooh, the peacock. And then the third card I'm taking is the title card. And the Whispers of Lord Ganesha. There was this, just like this blank, whatever. The blank spot. Belonging, Healing, and the blank spot. That's cool. Excuse me. Come on, let go. Oof. Why is that the divine to Patrick right now? Come on, let go. Patrick's like, you're gonna have to get back with me on that one. Cause I don't know. I don't know. That's a tall order. You're asking for a lot. From little old me. Ooh. Um. Oh, excuse me. That is an interesting question, Eve. Usually, I treat it as the. Honestly, it never really comes out. Um. Yes and no. It feels like it's just blank. Um. And since the title card, a lot of times to me, well, usually the title card is live life and find out because the question that we're asking, the question that I'm asking, isn't one that if I were to receive the answer now, it's like it wouldn't make sense. And so it's actually better for the sake of progression and development if I were to just find out naturally. That's what the title card means for me. The blank card almost feels like it's just like uncharted territory. But if it's uncharted, then I would just have to like live life and find out. You know what I mean? So kind of yes and no. All right, I'm gonna give this two more. One more. I'm gonna cut this in half. The first card is Justice. Oof. Is this not the third time we've seen the Justice card? The second card is the Ace of Swords. The third card is the Nine of Cups. Interesting. Bottom of the deck is the Tower. But the Tower in this deck, it's like we've grown too big for the shell. It's an energy of outgrowing. It's growth to the point where, if you don't shed or molts, you're gonna suffocate in your own skin, basically. Okay. So those are the external / collective energies. Let's look at the personal ones. That Nine of Cups is gorgeous, though. By the way, excuse me. Is this 3 cards? It's more than 3. Yay! I'm putting them back. It's more than 3 cards. I saw the 4 of Cups and the 8 of Cups, though. Okay. We're going 1, 2, 3 for the personal cut. The pillar is the first card. The pillar is the Empress in this deck. The second card is the Ruler of Coins. The third one is the Chariot, which is one of my birth cards. The Tower is my other birth card, so oof. And it was at the bottom of the other deck. Oops. Oh my gosh. So I accidentally knocked some of the cards off of the Diceology deck. And the card that now they're on the floor. The card that was left is the Four of Hearts and the Four of Cups, and the Eight of Cups were at the cut. Adaptive materialization, a murky mind or will, and clouded vision. Under that is on the cusp of realization, a shared vision, and a quickening, the Three of Clubs. 4-3. What's up with all of this chronological ascending and descending energy? Bottom of the deck is it's the Two of Swords. If that's not me, there's that Queen of Wands energy. Excuse me. So for justice, there is this pillar. A pillar is a structural support, right? And then for the Ace of Swords, it's the Ruler of Coins. If I could get these cards, I guess I'll do it this way. Let's try it this one. There we go. For the Nine of Cups, it's the Chariot. Which is very Apollo. And then at the bottom of the deck for the Tower, it's the Two of Swords. But the Tower's like, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe we won't Tower. But it's interesting. The Two of Swords is my minor justice card. It's interesting because in the justice card, they're like clearly separate. But in the Two of Swords, it's like there's a lot of overlap. It's interesting that the third eye is left there because in the Ruler of Wand and the Ruler of Pentacles, it's the third eye on with some kind of teardrop or on a wand or whatever that comes up from the hand that looks at that crown sort of above. Whereas for the Ace of Swords, of course, it's the sword. And this like little, I gotta do it this way to make it easier to see. There you go. It's this magical thingy. Where did justice go? Oh, it's right here. There they are. Justice, the Ace of Swords, the Nine of Cups, the Tower. Justice, the Ace of Swords, and the Nine of Cups, culminating in Tower energy, feels like not necessarily rapid growth, but it feels like collectively there's going to be an energy of like when a wish is fulfilled. Or justice is the energy of something coming into balance, into a higher balance. The Ace of Swords is one side of this scale. Because, oops, of this. The Ace of Swords is like this side of the scale because of the crescent moon. These are wet moons. Wet moons can hold water. And it's like with the laurel wreath, which is going back to Apollo. I'm pretty sure. I think that was Daphne. It's like because of some level of accomplishment, there's greater knowledge and information that we gain access to, or a greater perspective and expansion of horizons that makes it feels like what was a star is demoted to a nine of cups. The star being the thing so far removed. It's like whenever I see a star, like a star wish card energy, when we wish upon a star, we're wishing for something that we don't believe can actually happen, basically. We're asking for a miracle because the shooting star is this fleeting thing that is um, super orbital, like it's outside of Earth and it's just flying by. It's like the most external of external energies. Like we really need help if we're wishing on a star. But with the nine of cups, it feels more like it feels like something that's more feasible or realistic, or it feels like something that we believe is possible. We just need some help to like get it. Um, and so it feels like with justice, the ace of swords, and that nine of cups, maybe we're coming to realize that something that we desire or want isn't as outlandish or improbable or impossible as we might think it is. But with the tower at the bottom of the deck, it feels like it requires us to grow beyond our current container. Like the growth that would happen to actually receive whatever wish this is. It's like it's bigger than the life we currently lead or live. Like, so that's like external collective energy. Personal energy for me. Oh my gosh, this is the Eight of Cups. This Chariot card is the Eight of Cups, where the sun and the moon meet. It's an eclipse, also. It could be. Yeah, that's an eclipse. It's also the element of fire because of the upward pointing triangle. Also a little Ouroboros because of the circle. The pillar. At the center of the pillar is the rose. And then we have the phases of the moon. Then it's the ruler of coins. And then it's this chariot. So it feels like pieces, parts, aspects of self. And like looking at all the cobwebs, pieces. Oh, look, there's like a partial crown. The laurel wreath is forming here. So it's like in this ruler of coins area, I am building out accomplishments. I'm well on the path to victory. I have to continue to bring it to fruition. Um, but with this, it feels like there are things that it's like some of them are full, some of them are new, a lot of them are in between. And with the bottom of the deck being the Two of Swords, it feels like it's looking more at the bigger picture and not always getting so stuck in the the little details. Not always getting stuck in the details. Because it feels like chariot energy has a certain momentum to it. The chariot has a momentum that the Two of Swords just doesn't. Like how I was saying earlier, when I was like, for me, the thinking man and the action card are like opposites, like to think and act at the same time. Because thinking can lead to overthinking, and overthinking and action don't often coincide, for me, at least in particular. And so it feels like there's a Seven of Cups energy here because it feels like there will be options provided, there will be avenues of movement, but then as soon as it opens up, here comes the overthinking. Well, like, is this the one I should take? Like, is this it? Is this right? Like, what about this? What about that? To the point where I may not even necessarily ever do anything. And I talked about that recently because not making a choice is making a choice. Because eventually a decision will be made, regardless if I'm the one that makes it or not. Right? Let me pick up these cards that fell on the floor. Oof, call me out with that murky mind or will and clouded vision. This is like a murky mind or will and clouded vision. That's literally this. I feel like. And then the adaptive materialization is this. With the pillar and the ruler of coins. It's like when I make my mind up, if I can go all in on something, it will manifest. That's just not the case for most things. But I think part of this collective energy is also like it's partially like maybe it's like revealing our innermost desires. With the Ace of Swords and the Nine of Cups, like revealing our innermost desires. Justice is playing on that. Oh, and look, now the Eight of Hearts is at the bottom, an explosive vision, a nurturing light, and burning passion. So maybe it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it means now because it'll make sense in the long run. So, like, that's the way I learn. Like, when I learn things, I kind of sort of just accept. I've learned to accept them as true. And then as learning continues and progresses, as I encounter like further topics or applications of the material or whatever. It's like the examples or further learning solidify that foundation to the point where it makes sense. And so in the moment, I just have to go with it. I just have to accept it and flow with it and allow it to continue to unfold, because eventually it will make sense. What is interesting, though, is collectively there is this side of the scale, but personally, there is this one. And so, because of that, with the healing belonging, I think it's also going to be important to not be so disconnected from the collective, or not be so disconnected from external energies, because that can be very heady, introspective, and cerebral. But I think too, with the Two of Swords, that's part of the like, be in the flow, be in the moment. Like, don't, it's like it's this bigger picture thinking, but it's like if you're doing a crossword puzzle, Patrick, and you have the box lid so you know what the overall image is, but then you gather the pieces with similar colors. So there's like, you know what the bigger picture is, but you also are focused on the part that you're focused on. And as you work through your focus, you know what, I would need Virgo energy. Virgo energy would be helpful for me, because I feel like Virgo would be good at like working on this and then working on that and then working on that and then working on that and then working on that. And if you go methodically, eventually you'll fill in the bigger picture. But I'm the type of person, like, if I were to sit down with the crossword puzzle, I would kind of get not overwhelmed, but it's like I would do a little here and then do a little there. It's like do all of these pieces all over the place and not really have anything cohesive in any particular point until the very end. And it's like it's possible to have some cohesion a little quicker here now. So to start reading the way it comes. Um so do I ever feel reluctant to start reading the way it comes? For sure, definitely. Not all the time, but often enough. I do. Sadir, I have no clue. That's a rest question. Do you try to shape not knowing the totality, but not wanting to give negative prophecy? Um, Share. Do you try to share the totality? I feel like I don't want to give anything negative, but at the same time, I understand that when it comes to certain things, there needs to be a certain like truth and a certain honesty. And I don't think that truth and honesty is necessarily always negative, especially if it empowers us to address the thing that needs to be addressed. But do I like it? No. Do I try to like work around it sometimes? Yes. Do I try to work around it sometimes? No. Sometimes I'm just like, it is what it is. Sometimes I'm like, well, like, what would be helpful? Can we like talk about this in another way to answer your questions, man? I'm gonna look for the hermit. I'm gonna look for the hermit in this one because I feel like I don't have a lot of Virgo in me. But then I'm gonna look for the hermit in the other one to find my personal context to that energy. I'm looking for the hermit because hermit is Virgo to me, and I mean hermit is Virgo to a lot of people. It's like the standard. Um, oh, I promise if I get a gosh darn title card, figure it out. Let's see. Here it is. Ooh, oof. Ooh, oof, 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 oof. I'm trying to find Virgo, but does Virgo even want to be found? I'm asking Virgo because these collective cards, one of them is real oof. The other one is interesting. I think I'm a little closer to Virgo energy than I think I am. And I think that's because of the ways that I've been moving lately and recently. Um, from me, myself personally, I didn't necessarily think I was long for the world. So there were a lot of things that I didn't care about. There were a lot of things that didn't necessarily have to happen because I was indifferent slash passively invested in them not happening. Um, and so the cards that came out around the Hermit are the Sovereign of Wands. The Sovereign of Wands is behind the card at the bottom of the deck, so that's why I say I'm closer. It was behind this Two of Swords, so that's why I was like, I'm closer than I think I am. But the other card is the Three of Swords, so that's why I'm like, oof. But it's the Sovereign of Wands and the Three of Swords, which is interesting because the Three of Swords is a bird in this deck. Speaking about the birds, it feels like it's this energy of like wanting to attract certain things, but not wanting to stand out at the same time because of the light and magnetism of the Sovereign of Wands. The Sovereign of Wands is the queen. But with the Three of Swords, like clipped wings of the bird, it's like, well, how do you do one without the other? So that's the where that Virgo energy is external. See, bottom of the deck now is that Sovereign of Wands. It was behind the Two of Swords. And then the world is behind that Sovereign of Wands. And death is behind that, with the High Sage behind that, and the Fool behind that. Oof, come through, majors. Okay. Let's look for that Hermit, shall we? This is yay, it's not gonna be the title card. This is like kind of sort of low key a theme, I guess, I think for me. Or it's a message that's coming out more and more. And it's interesting because my journey buddy kind of sort of called me out on it last time we were talking. I was like, oof, girl, yeah, but like, hmm, but I love her. Where is this? Okay, here's the Hermit. Oh my gosh. Wow. Come through synchronicity in the worst way. Yes, just beat me up. Why not? The Hermit is with the Three of Swords again. But on the other side of the Three of Swords is the Seeker of Swords, which is the Page of Swords energy. The Three of Swords, it's like it's on opposite sides. Let's see. It was like this. No, it was like this. Because it was the Sovereign and then the three. For me, it's the three and then the page. So externally, collectively, Virgo is between the elements of fire and air. But personally, it's all air. And did I not just talk about overthinking? And it's in all this air energy. But oh, this I feel like this is literally what I was talking about. This is literally what I was just saying. For me, because of everything that I was experiencing, everything that I experienced up to a certain point that was very Three of Swords, I didn't think I was long for the world. So there were things that didn't matter to me because I didn't necessarily like plan on being here. I didn't plan on actively not being here, but I had hoped that, I would just not be. But it was after that, after I worked through all that, that now I find myself like thinking about the future, the same future that I didn't think I had before. And so that's why I feel like the Page of Swords, Secret of Swords is now coming out of or after that Three of Swords energy. Oh my gosh! So spread. Look, that's the bird. It's flying. I'm shook. Look at the bird fly. Okay, make me cry. It's fine. I love this. I love this for me. Um, and honestly, it makes me think of that blank card again. Because at least in this incarnation, it's not something that I ever, until recently ish, it was never something that I thought about. And so for me, being the imaginative, introspective, cerebral person that I am, there's a lot of thought that I never put into the future, into my future, because I didn't want one for a long time. Hey Steph, how you doing? So not only am I closer to Virgo energy than I think I am, I'm also I feel like doing a lot better than it's not better necessarily, but it's like it's already in that orbit, which I think again it feels like it plays into that energy of like just like be in the moment, just be present, just go with the flow. The larger picture, the bigger picture, and this Two of Swords, it's like that's for the divine to know and for me to not worry about. Because at the end of the day, like I know what it feels like. And I know the general direction. So I don't have to be so worried or consumed. It's just to keep moving. Like Dory said in Finding Nemo, just keep swimming. You'll get there eventually. Okay. So that's what I got for me. That answers none of my questions, but that's the point. The point is to not need clarity. And I was like that for a minute. I was comfortable in the unknown. I was comfortable with the path not necessarily completely paved. But in some things in particular, I'm just like, what does this mean? Like, I need to know what this is because I'm so confused. Like, it makes no sense. Like, make it make sense. And it's like, well, it's not supposed to make sense. I'm like, well, you can't just tell me it's not supposed to make sense because how am I supposed to make sense of it? How am I supposed to know what I want or what to do or which path to take or which choice and decision to make? And the choice and decision is mine, you know? So, but it seems like, according to my 2022, this month and next month are going to be pretty big. So, I wait with bated breath. And I'm going to get final cards for me. You get nothing from me today. Unless you relate to this, then you get that. I would say I'm playing, but I kind of am not. Well, maybe with the energy oracle cards, I'll make that. No, it's all about me today. And you didn't necessarily ask, Matthew, but when I do personal, there are some things that are personal that are like super personal. Just like if I were reading someone else, I wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable going all the way into it if I'm live because of when I talked about the high priestess glaring at the high priestess, the queen of cups, the ivory shield glaring at me from the spirit keeper's tarot. It feels like there are some things about a person that's only for that person to know. It's not even for me to know as the person that's like reading on behalf of that person. Um, and there are things that it's just not for like just everybody to know. Um, and so what resonates personally and deeply for me, I know what it means for me. And that's enough. Y'all don't need to know. It's my journey and it would do nothing for you. So, I mean, I'm not going to say it wouldn't do anything, but that's why I show you and I tell you. Because if it would do something for you, then you, like, it would unfold for you, just like it unfolds for me. So, yeah. Sleeping since the full moon. I want to. I want to be sleeping. How you doing, Steph? But really, though, like, what does this mean? I'm like, I'm so not surprised. I'm not surprised at all that the title card came out last night. I'm actually relieved that the title card came out last night because I'm not ready for that information, but also at the same time, I'm just like, well, what does that mean? Hello? Like, what's happening? Can anybody tell me what's happening? You don't have to tell me what's happening. This basically told me what's happening. But I'm still like, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean for me? What does that mean for my life? What does that mean for the choices and decisions that I make when it comes to like work and where I live and the type of a lot of things? It's like, what are the implications of this? Like, what are the ramifications of these choices and decisions or this whatever? And it's like, shh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just do what you know to be right in that moment, in that time. Or just do what you feel most guided to do, or what excites you the most, or the thing that calls it. Do what speaks to you. Ooh, tuna coins at the bottom of the deck. I'll take it. Thank you. Nothing beats pennies. My Taurus moon is expensive. So I got to be able to provide. I'm kidding. My Taurus moon just wants to be comfortable, honestly. And that's not too expensive, usually. Unless it's like a flight, then it might be. Or, lodging, accommodations. Okay, maybe it is expensive. I remember growing up, my mom would be like, I hope you get a good job when you grow up because you're expensive. And I did. I ended up getting a job that allows me to be able to afford me. So I'm grateful for that, very much so. Taurus moon for the win. Hey, you know what's up. Well, this is a lot. 22613. When was 2013? Was 9 years ago. 226 was 2 days before my birthday in 2013. 2013, I would have turned 20. That would have been my sophomore. 11, 12, 12, 13. That would have been my sophomore year of school. So I would have just gotten into the chemical engineering program. It was the thing that I wanted. I ended up changing my major when I was in school. So that was the first one I got into. That's when I really started talking to my Sag best friend. My best friend who's a Sagittarius. I She's my Sag best friend because it helps me differentiate my best friends with you. Instead of being like my best friend, my best friend, my best friend, my best friend, but I'm talking about like 10 different people. So, every time I say best friend, it's fine. I'm a Taurus moon. I get to have multiple best friends and they're all my favorite. Um, so I had classes with her. I was getting closer with her. Um, it was my first semester in Chemie because it was 11, 12, 12, and then 13 is when I was actually in the program. And I think when I first got in the program, it's interesting because there was an issue with a girl there that mirrors an issue with another girl that I know now. And it's actually because of that incident that happened then that I have the stance that I have now. Where it's like, we can be decent enough to learn people's names, basically. Um, wow, that was really spicy. Um, yeah, it was my first semester in the program. I thought I was doing my thing. I ended up doing something else, but that's because I wasn't in the game. College for me was interesting because after a certain point, I wasn't ready for the real world at all. No problem. See you later, Steph. I'm about to take a shot at some fireball, which I don't need. It's almost gone. But it's like the closer I got to graduation, like campus was a safety blanket for me. And I was not ready for the real world. That's what took me so long to graduate. I was sabotaged hard. 223 or 22613. I mean, I don't remember anything else about that time. But I guess like that was my first. Fireball is cinnamon whiskey. I like whiskey. And I like cinnamon most of the time. I like cinnamon sometimes, and I like whiskeys. So it works in moderation for me. Um, so maybe I guess like because like chemical engineering was my primary, and because life happened and I wasn't ready to face life, I ended up having to switch my major to something that I kind of enjoy more, honestly, because in biological engineering, I do the stuff of chemie that I like, which is like more of the organic slash, which is basically not petroleum. It's not oil, because I did not want to end up working at some oil company or working with petroleum. I did not want that. But with BE, it's all like food, pharmaceutical, stuff like that, or like micro, whatever. So it ended up working out. But again, that was part of the whole like that point in time in my life where not making a choice or not making a decision was making a choice and decision. And so maybe it's to remind me or to help me realize that I'm not there anymore or that I don't have to be there anymore. That this was literally that time in my life. The gentle gardener with deep freeze and solitude. With the like if the gardener just allowed all the stuff to just freeze, everything would die. And when everything dies, we're left with the energy of solitude. What's at the bottom of the deck? Strength. So I'm gonna put those back. Is this gonna be like a trip down memory lane? Like think of it might it's I feel like it's about like going back to where I was. And it's interesting because I'm thinking of much of the same now. Moving out. Well, first of all, moving. So I guess moving involves moving out. And I was talking with my journey buddy, and she helped remind me. I've been talking with another friend, my Scorpio best friend, question mark. No, he's not my Scorpio best friend. He's my ex roomie. I've been talking with my ex roomie, and I'm talking with my journey buddy, and just like living life, talking with my mom, going to England and coming back. I'm just ready. And while there are parts of me that are nervous, that are hesitant, that doesn't know how things are going to work, I don't know all the logistics. I love that I looked for the Hermit and the Three of Swords was there. I love that I looked for like, how do I get like the logistics or whatever? Because before where I was in life, 22316, I wasn't in a position to just allow life to be life. And I'm not there anymore. I know that whatever I do, wherever I go, things are going to work out. I'm fine with challenging myself. I'm fine with not knowing. Literally, this whole year, and many different areas, arenas, and aspects of my life it's been to show me like even if you don't know, even if you're not comfortable, your limitations aren't your limitations anymore. And even if I face a challenging situation, now I can ask. I don't have so much shame and embarrassment and guilt built up around certain areas and aspects that I can't talk about it, that I can't reach out for help when I need it. So I can just do it. It'll work out. Um, is meant to taste like dirt and leather. That does not. I feel like that is not the emoji I would use when it comes to dirt and leather. But I like the smell of leather. I don't mind the smell of leather. Um, somebody was like, "Oh, smell this! It smells terrible." I'm like, "That's leather, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, that's leather. Isn't it gross?" I'm like, "No, it's not." But also, I've noticed that whenever someone asks me to smell something at work, it's not as bad to me as it is to them. But also, I don't have to sniff it all day. So, but dirt and leather sounds interesting. I'll give it a try. I guess I should emphasize I like bourbon whiskey. So, like Jim Beam, Jameson, you know. I don't know if I've tried too much other like whiskey, but that's cute. Look at that. Remember the 10, 30, 40 that came out the other day with the skee ball machine? Here's a 1030. Rock bottom and making choices. I'm not making choices from rock bottom anymore. We've elevated beyond that, darling. Thank you. I don't know if I don't know. I didn't hate the smell. Jim Beam is rough. I love Jim Beam, especially Jim Beam apple. Jim Beam apple is really good. Honey, I don't necessarily care for. Orange, I didn't necessarily care for. For me, it's like apple and then regular Jim and then all the other ones. Cleaning house with sad embrace. Another 45. There's that 45 again. It was the man holding the heart before. It's the sad embrace here. Ooh, ooh. Cleaning house and sad embrace. With the magical map shifter behind that sad embrace. Cleaning up this energy to be in this one. And then from the space of the magical map shifter, now it's time to make a choice. Making a choice from this magical map shifter energy rather than making a choice from rock bottom. Because as I found out that there were lows that were lower than the lows that I experienced before, and they just kept getting lower until I finally made the choice and decision to face the things that I had been running from. And after I decided to face them, after I worked through them, then it's like, oh yeah, here, like we'll solve your problems for you. Now they're non-issues. So again, like part of the first half of 2022 for me and the latter part of 2021 has been like, this is no longer an issue. That's no longer an issue. You can do this. You can speak up. You can have your voice. You can use your voice. You can still be respectful and whatever, but you ain't got to put up with this. And just like you ain't got to put up with nobody else's BS, you don't have to put up with your own either. And that's the part where I'm like, oof. Like, what if I like my BS? Deja vu when you've heard this bull before. Interesting. Okay, give me a little pep talk. I got to get called out first. That's how it works. Got to keep my ego in check. Don't want it to get too big. I want it to be healthy, but I don't want it to be, too healthy. Judgment and the Memory Keeper. Apocalypse and the memory Keeper, actually. I like Apocalypse. Well, Apocalypse and Memory Keeper is interesting because it's like a forgotten memory that has the power to completely change one's, like, everything. The Scarlet Shield, look, there's that Queen of Wands energy again. Up, psych, just kidding. She's the Queen of Swords. The Golden Shield is the Queen of Wands. But we got the bird eating the snake, which symbolizes order overcoming chaos. That's Apep, and I don't Horus maybe and Apep. I know that because of Benabel Win. aka the person who illustrated and created this deck. And then the Knight of Cups, the Shining Waters. The Shining Waters was at the bottom of the deck behind whatever card was at the bottom. Uh, Queen of Swords, Knight of Cups. Waves of the Undine and Sanctum of the Valiant. Bottom of the deck is it's the Warrior. The Warrior is the sun in this deck. Sanctum of the Valiant with the Warrior, the Valiant Warrior. Love that. Um, but again, it makes me think of that blank card after Belonging and Healing. The Scarlet Shield and the Shining Waters. This Undine is very star card energy. But instead of pouring from the jug, the water comes from her. And instead of one going in the water and the other one goes on the ground, it's like one goes above, one goes below, and it's her water. You can she's blurry, it's fine. One goes above, there you go. Now you can see her. I'll just hold her here. One goes above, one goes below, okay? And then we got the Pegasus. I think all the knights in the SKT are Pegasi. Pegasus. No problem. I love it. I feel like I have not done this deck justice. But the SKT Vitruvian edition, when I first got it, it was like the toss of a coin on whether or not it would just go completely over my head or whether I would kind of get it. But it really like stretched me, I feel like, in a lot of ways, which I'm grateful for. This Sanctum of the Valiant. What was at the bottom of the deck again? The Warrior, the Sun. Um, it feels like there's a certain almost gentleness here because the Knight of Cups is offering its chalice to this Queen of Swords. And it feels like the Queen of Swords, the Scarlet Shield, is disconnected from the experience in some way. I don't know if disconnected from the experience is necessarily the words. It's not disconnected from the experience, it's disconnected from others in the experience. And so it feels like sometimes it doesn't see. Or it's like there's this disconnect between like the macroscopic and real life, or the bigger picture and what we see with our own two eyes, like observing the parade and being in the parade. And that's the whole, I was talking to my journey buddy, and in the conversation, it was a minute ago, it was like going back to the puzzle. It's like a lot of times it feels like spiritually we try to elevate ourselves to the point where we're putting the puzzle together. but it's about like being a piece of the puzzle at the same time, because we are a piece of the puzzle. And when we are both a piece of the puzzle and the one assembling the puzzle, it feels like it feels like a closed circuit. It feels like establishing 2 points, and then there's this flow and this connection between them, and something turns on where it's a lot easier. And so for me, I've like been in this like, how do I be like a piece of the puzzle, but also be the one assembling the puzzle? And that was a whole thing. That conversation actually happened before I went to London, maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks before. And so in my own personal life, I've been like, what's next? Because I know I don't want to stay where I am. And there are opportunities to continue in different locations, but for the same company. But I don't want to keep doing the job that I'm doing. I don't necessarily mind the company that much, but I don't want to stay, like, I don't want to be a microbiologist. And like, I want to be in a more engineering role. So I want to transition into that, right? Basically. But do I know what I want? No. Part of the reason why I don't know what I want is because my life is so open now, where it wasn't for so long. So all of the choices and decisions I made in the past, all the choices and decisions I made pre 2020, pre 2019, because 2019 was my first year of like intentional tower chasing healing, because I had to do it. If I didn't do it, I wouldn't be here in 2022. The dark night was very dark, and I was not interested in having another one. Um, and with everything happening this year, it's like it really isn't the same. And so there were so many things in life that I never even really fully considered. So many things that I never thought about because they were non options for me. But like now it's like they're not. And I've already had one opportunity. Well, there were discussions about an opportunity that literally would have been a dream come true for old me. But old me had dreams that were a direct result of the cage that I had put myself in. And outside of that cage, those dreams, it's not that they don't call me as much as they did before. I would still love to do them, but it's like it was the dream, it was the star. And when it comes a little closer, it's like I'm not necessarily looking for another star. I don't need a star right now, if that makes sense. Like there's nothing so far outside of what I think is attainable that I have to wish on a shooting star for the off chance that it might happen. It feels like anything that I want is quite feasible. I mean, it's not that it's not going to require work, effort, time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears, but nothing feels like it's off the table. I'm just like, I don't know what I want. And I'm not supposed to know. I just got to live life, right? Live life and find out a day at a time. And when the process is a process, it affords us much more than if the process were just simply a destination. Because it's not just about the destination, the path that we take to get there also plays a part, right? All of the different experiences, skills, conversations, relationships that I build along the way are going to be important in some way. So that's where I've been in one area of my life. I mean, it was occupying my mind heavy. Some parts were heavier than others. Where it's like I really want to know what I want because I don't want this. And if I don't want this, what's the point of me staying here? What's the point of me continuing to do what I'm doing if I know I'm not going to be here long term? Um, but I'm mostly over that. Mostly. Bottom of the deck, the Four of Hearts. Again, adaptive materialization, a murky mind or will, clouded vision. The card that flipped over is the Five of Spades. That's the 45 that I've seen like twice. The first one was the man holding a heart. The second one was sad embrace. The rise of two empires synchronized, a vision that ignites the self and soul. I am looking for that vision that ignites the self and soul. I literally lived my whole life safe. And me living my whole life safe was choosing a life of misery. Literally choosing a life of misery. And I don't have to do that anymore. So it's gorgeous. I'm so grateful to me for starting that journey and doing what I needed to do. I'm grateful to Spirit and my guides and the divine for the part that they played. I'm grateful to all of you for the part that you played. Um, and now it's just like, just gotta live life. You know what I mean? Let's see. And so with that, like I've been bored. And I was like, I know I'm not depressed, but like I feel like unmotivated. I feel like I don't really care about a lot of stuff. I'm just like, I was bored. Um, and it's interesting because without knowing where I'm going, without anything necessarily changing yet, I'm already more enthusiastic about the very things I was bored about before. But that's because I've also been working towards the understanding of I don't need to know. I've been working towards like what feels right now. Like what am I excited about right now? What is feasible? What is not only feasible and realistic, but what is also like pushing the envelope. You know, that sweet spot where it's like outside of the comfort zone, or it's the sweet spot between Virgo and Pisces, I'll say. Because I get to be Pisces dreamy, but not so like detached from reality that it's like barring a miracle, which can happen. That's not how things work. And so it's about not necessarily changing how things work. It's about finding how I can get things to work for me. But to get things to work for me, I also have to work. So it's very much that. So there was a four, there was a five, now there's a six, and it's the six of clubs, the same one that came out earlier. A shift in the wind, a leaf caught in an eddy, the birth of a new language, the rising of two empires synchronized, and the birth of a new language. Interesting. Bottom of the deck is the Two of Hearts, being between worlds. A vision brought to life, choices that require foresight and communication. Interesting. Today is Friday. I don't have to work tomorrow. Yay. I feel so much better after this. So thank you all for being here and just like supporting me, I guess. Again, hopefully something resonates for you, or I don't know. Or maybe you're just awesome and you're here for me, which you know I appreciate. So Buff Dudes, The Secret. Okay, I'll look it up. See, that's what I'm like. Because my friend, my realistic friend, was like, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, like, no. Like, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, no. Like, yes, but no. You know what I mean? Energy Oracle is next. Oof, is that indecision? Number 8. And I used to see this card so much. I ain't seen it in a while. I haven't used this deck in a while. Indecision, not making a choice is a choice. I know from firsthand experience. Goddess of the Moon, all about intuition. What time is it? Excuse me. Okay, final card from the Energy Oracle cards for me, please. For Moa. I've still got to make another trip somewhere. I have a flight credit that expires in September. I was going to go to Sedona with my bestie, but I don't know if that's going to happen now. Also, we probably should have planned it. Yeah, I've experienced a lot of the choices made for you. What was that? Hello? What is happening with the electronics? Can someone tell me, please? Okay, it's fine. Oh, look, appreciation at the bottom of the deck again. I'm grateful for that. Okay, let's see. But I think that's also too. So to go back to your question, Matt, about the last question that you asked me, it's like there have been difficult truths that I've had to face. I mean, we all have difficult truths to face. There's something in pretty much all of our lives that we'd rather not have to deal with. But I've found that in dealing with them, it's given me the freedom and liberation that I wanted. Um, and it's just, I don't know. If we actually want the things that we say we want, carrying connections with the angel of love. Oops. Ah! Call me out. And why does it feel like if you want caring connections, if you want love, like act like it? Archangel Camuel, solar plexus. Oof. I do. Until I don't. I just be in my head a little bit. That's it. I just be in my head because I'm like, what do I want? What has my life been lately? I don't know. Life's been good. It was when I first got back from England. It was a lot of like, wow, I want so much different in my life. Now it's calming down. Now it's mellowing out. But it doesn't. I have to, because what I'll do sometimes is, if I'm not under pressure, I won't make a choice or decision. So what'll happen is Patrick gets thrown into the pressure cooker. Patrick gets thrown into the fire. No pot, no pan, just in the embers. And it's like, I got to do this. I got to do that. Patrick will start to put in some action, or Patrick will think about it. The fire gets turned off. Maybe it rains. You know, the pressure lets up. Patrick gets comfortable, doesn't do the thing that Patrick said he would do in the fire. And then it's a rinse, wash, and repeat. And so for me, I know that I wanted to get to the point where I didn't need to be under pressure, or I didn't need for my world to literally be crumbling and falling apart around me for me to act, for me to decide, for me to do. And so things are calming back down. I'm starting like work is, I feel like the boredom is lifting from life, but also at the same time, all of the things that I put in motion, I need to keep in motion. Appreciation, why not? There you go. She came out. She's been at the bottom of the deck every time I looked. Appreciating caring connections. That's cute. And then Archangel Gabriel, like where Camuel was like, act like it. Archangel Gabriel was like, well, say something, speak up, don't be silent. Don't just walk away. Call me out. Call me out. Walking away is right behind it. Don't just walk away. I used to do that all the time. Excuse me. Cornucopia is still behind walking away, by the way. Every time walking away made an appearance, cornucopia is right there. Cornucopia is like, you can have literally everything. My whole thing was, I want everything. And I'm willing to do what I need to do to get it. And so if I gotta go through a tower, if I gotta go through some sucky circumstances or situations, if I have to have a difficult conversation, if I gotta be brutally honest with myself, if I gotta be in the trenches for a hot minute, I'll do it because I want what's on the other side much more than I don't want to face anything that I have to face. Much more than I don't like being uncomfortable, much more than I want to continue to be willingly, blindly, blissfully ignorant. I want what I want, and I know it's going to require a lot because I know where I was, and I know the capacity that I did not have for literally anything that would have made me happy. Ooh, okay, gorgeous. The Ace of Pentacles came out. The Wheel of Fortune is the bottom of the deck. And and as if I haven't seen the Eight of Hearts and the Eight of Cups enough, under that Wheel of Fortune is this Eight of Cups. I'm ready to get to the other side of the mountain that's not just like broken glass. And I'm happy to say that I am on the other side of the mountain. Um, but it's like now, it's like I made it to the other side of the mountain, but now it's time to like venture onward somewhere, because I don't necessarily want to make a home in the mountain. I'm not mountain folk. Call me Scotty. No, Scotty was of the mountain. Her husband was of the sea. I'm not of the sea either. I'm of the in between. So, Ace of Pentacles and the Wheel of Fortune. For me, I had to address everything internally. And I talked about this before. I had to address everything internally inside of me before external shifts started to happen. It's like it wasn't until I was totally no, it wasn't until I was like, it wasn't until I had accepted my lot in life that my hand changed. I was like, what? It's like, yeah, girl, like this is a multiple round game. It's like Yahtzee. You can put as many dice as you want back into the thing, and then we'll roll up again. You know, you don't have to hold on to it. But even things that we don't like, even trauma can become a part of our identity to the point where whenever, ooh, the Mother of Wands, I think she was still face up from when I pulled this stuff though. I noticed the front of a card and all of the sea of card backs. I was like, what's that? Um, When trauma becomes a part of our identity, it can be hard to let even that go. Whenever we have like there, I don't know if there's an identity crisis that's like not a big deal, but that's why we have to be careful with what we identify with and how deeply we identify with it sometimes. And I don't know if it's like we have to be careful so much as like when it comes time for our identity to change, for it to grow, for it to evolve, for certain truths to come to the light, that we allow what is not true to fall away. And it'll come with like various degrees of difficulty, depending on how closely, how tightly we hold that truth. So, final card from the this. I'm still just like, why? Like, why? It's fine. All things in time. And I'm the type of person too. I'm like, I love surprises. Like, I don't want to know. Don't tell me. But then I'm like, I want to know. It's like I want to know, but I want to be surprised at the same time. Can you make that happen? Can you tell me without telling me? And the answer is yes. And then I'm like, but what does that mean though? Like, what are the implications of this? Like, how does this influence, impact like me and my world and my trajectory and moving forward? But I want to be surprised. The Sovereign of Coins, the Ruler of Wands, and the Two of Swords. We saw the Ruler of Coins. I saw the Ruler of Coins earlier. We saw it. You saw it too. I held the card up. That is Queen of Coins, King of Wands, Two of Swords. The King of Wands in this deck for me, with this Ouroboros in particular, this Ruler of Wands has his ego in check. And he has to. Because if this King of Wands doesn't have his ego in check, his desire will scorch the earth around him. And his kingdom will be one of ash and desolation. It's interesting though, because I got what, the Daughter of Wands, Daughter of Pentacles. So here's the earth and the fire again. With the Two of Swords, Two of Swords implies some kind of balance. But with this Two of Swords in particular, it feels like it's a higher balance or a previously not extensively explored ratio proportion of fire and earth. But fire and earth is like the sun and the earth. Like that's a whole solar system. And that makes me think of the Undine, the earth below, the heavens above. What is above? What is above? That was quick. Thank you. Whatever is above is face down. What is below? What is below, please? I'll give it two more. One more. Final one. I want to take this one. You see this? The Seeker of Coins, the Page of Pentacles is below. The tooth symbolizes wisdom. The key symbolizes initiations. And then that's the earth. What is above? It's the Three of Cups. Which is interesting The Four of Cups is at the bottom of the deck. The Four of Cups that I saw at the cut with the Eight of Cups. But see, there's this third eye looking up. There's this cup with wings in this that sits above the Three Cups. So this, we could equate to this. But what's interesting is with the Two of Swords, we already have this. So it feels like there's some rearranging of this that gets me to this Three of Cups energy. It's also interesting because I saw this shape earlier today. No, what does it mean? What does it mean? Why? Why? When synchronicity drives you crazy, it's just like, why? Like, why? What's the point? It's mess with Patrick Day. Haha. Get in it. Get in on it. Guides, everybody, ancestors, just mess with Patrick. Why not? Here's a sink. What does it mean? Oh, I don't know. Well, we know Patrick isn't going to try to figure it out. He'll just be like, okay, that's interesting. Then I'll forget or I'll move on with the day anyway. So that was immediately interesting. Above is this Three of Cups, but the Two of Swords is right here. Below is this. Where does this wisdom come from, though? That leads to the key. It's almost like wisdom is the thing that initiates. That makes sense, though. Wisdom initiates experiences. So, like new wisdom, incorporated wisdom initiates new experiences. With this Three of Cups, it's almost like it's about finding that space, that spot, like a Venn diagram, where all of these different experiences align to realize some kind of higher truth, a truth that's not necessarily as evident in a singular experience because it requires some reconfiguration, some manipulation, if you will. This is the difference between warm earth and like scorched earth here. And it feels like warm earth takes seed a lot better. But I guess it also depends on what you're growing. So that was the personal within me. It also feels like there are certain things that are inaccessible without it's Rumpelstiltskin, how he couldn't spin straw into gold for himself. Um, it's not for me to be, and I've talked about it before, isolated or outside. Rob talked about it when he did my little 3 card. The past was the Seven of Wands, sort of isolated outside. The present is the Three of Pentacles, engaging, interacting, cooperating, collaborating. And the future was the Page of Wands and some other cards. Very, very much so. I felt on the nose. Very accurate. Very great reading. I love that. Thanks, Rob. Because it's almost like that's what it's for. It's for others. Right? That's like if I'm given a certain amount of money or resources for other people, I can't go and spend it on myself. And I could be like, oh, well, this is for me. It's like this is for somebody else, but for me, because I'm doing this for somebody else, but I'm really not. But as far as the court knows I'm doing this for you. So if anybody asks, this is yours, even though it's really mine. All right. Where are we at over here? This is the last deck. It's time in more ways than I'm necessarily comfortable with. But in all the ways that I want. So if my desires clash with my comfort zone, guess what? Things are about to get real uncomfortable. It's about to get real awkward. I'm not gonna know anything because it's not worth what I want. And like I said, I want everything. This is the Virgo card I would have looked for also. It's the Knight of Coins, the Conqueror of Coins in this deck, Mutable Earth. Slow and steady wins the race. There's the Ace of Swords. So the Ace of Swords was facing down, and the Page of Swords as the bird was flying up. This sword is pointed upward through the coin. That's the roots. Roots symbolize connection, but subterranean, subtle, behind the scenes sort of connection. And then again, we have this crescent moon, which was, let me find that Three of Cups real quick. Because I believe that's the same configuration. Yes, it is. That's the same moon. But it's a Knight of Pentacles, so it's going to take time. It's not necessarily going to take time. It's going to take movement. I feel like Knight of Pentacles time isn't necessarily on the clock. Knight of Pentacles time feels more like once you invest this much, then something happens. So if you've ever played an app game where you get some passive currency that you generate, it takes 2,000 coins to build a house. You passively generate 100 coins every hour. So it's going to take you 20 hours if quick math in the brain is right to get that house. Or you can spend real money on your app to buy the coins and get it immediately. The point is, it costs a currency that is tied to time, but you can circumvent the time. I'm not saying that life is pay to win, but I wouldn't say that it isn't. um, this was the fourth cup. That's the um, again the sword pointing up. That's the above. That circle around the third eye and the wings of that chalice in the Four of Cups. It's here around the moon and this pinnacle. This is also water. Where was who had the fire? Which card was that? I don't remember. It was a card with the upward triangle. The Chariot, question mark. This one is downward pointing. But there are like three sort of levels or tiers. Thank you. The bottom of the deck is Death. Oof. The divine is like, I want you to die a slow and agonizing death. With the Knight of Coins and death, oof. It's not necessarily slow and agonizing, it's thorough. It's about a very, very thorough transformation. And that's the rose that was at the heart of the pillar. When I was looking for Virgo energy, and the pillar, the hermit, and the three of swords. The pillar, the hermit, and the three of swords. No, 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 no. I was just pulling three cards because it was justice, the ace of swords, the nine of cups, with the tower at the bottom. And I got the pillar, the card I already literally just forgot, and the chariot. It was the pillar, the card I literally forgot again, and the chariot with that other card that I forgot at the bottom of the deck. I literally already forgot what I was just talking about. Um, oh, how the pillar, the rose was at the middle of the pillar, and then there were the different phases of the moon around it. Okay, I was looking at the mountains, and I was like, oh, I was just talking about how good night, Eve. It's my bedtime too. My bedtime was 5 o'clock today, honestly. Um, but it's like it's not only is it getting to the other side of the mountain, it's then like making my way, your way, our way down the mountain. I'm not a mountain person. I'm not mountain folk, so I'm not trying to stay in the mountain. Although in real life, I don't know if I would necessarily mind it that much. Death, the Nine of Wands, the Eight of Cups, and the title card. Not knowing where I'm going is the point. Not knowing where I'm going is the point for me for a specific reason. Um, that ultimately just it plays back into that whole like because of where I was in life, what I experienced in life, and what I feared. There were certain experiences that I just would not allow myself to have. And now things are different. So I have to, I'm not going to say it's the Aksunade, even though it's fine. Aksunade is the brilliant dawn. It's where we experience light where there was only dark nights before. And so because there was only dark nights before, we're not used to the light being there, and then there's a whole sensitivity that's involved. But the sensitivity to the light is different than a dark night of the soul. But it feels like it can trigger in a lot of the same ways. The difference or the differentiating factor is, I guess we could say, like the healing that's occurred to allow for either forward progression into that space or to just shut it down and whatever. Um, I really forgot why I was talking about whatever card I was talking about, but that's fine. This has been fairly plain to me for a hot minute now, but I kept going for you, I guess. To answer your question again, Matt, sometimes I do pull more cards to help me get to something without necessarily saying it the way that it comes. Especially depending on like how far I want to get into something. But I try not to like if I can't still hit a point of resonance, I'll just let it go. And if I'm like, here are these cards, you take whatever you get from this. It might be because of that. It might be because I don't know, but it feels like it might be relevant to somebody. But anyway, that's all I got. It has been 2.5 hours. Again, thank you all for being here as I read me and as I share my journey with you. Hopefully, there's something that you get to progress on yours or to experience better, to get more. Because just like I want everything, I want it all. I want so much more for a lot of people. But I understand that sometimes our experiences doesn't prepare us to a receive more or b to be able to conceptualize more and what more for us would be or for us to even think that more is possible. um, so with everything being said, I hope you have a good amazing whatever. I hope you have a good amazing whatever. I hope you have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality, and whatever you need along your path, journey, way, um, life, I hope you find it in the way that you need it. And I hope that in those moments where it is for something to sort of like sit and marinate, I hope that I hope that you can allow whatever you need. I hope that you can allow those things that are there to help you on your path, journey, and way to assist you in the way that they are to assist you, even when it's not easy or convenient. Because ultimately, I hope a better place for you on the other side of that. So, thank you again. I will catch y'all the next time. Good night, or good morning, or good evening, good whatever, whatever.